Can the Bengals take down the Ravens with first place in the AFC on the line? Hi again, everyone. I'm James Rapien with allbengals.com and Cincinnati Bengals talk here at Paul Brown Stadium, where Cincinnati just a few days away from taking on the Baltimore Ravens. And look, this team, they're 4-2. They're in second place in the AFC North, and they've lost to the Ravens in each and every matchup of Lamar Jackson's career. Jackson 5-0 against the Bengals, and that was topic A today when the Bengals took the podium. Here is Mike Hilton on trying to stop Lamar Jackson.
It's easier said than done to stop him. When you get out there, you just got to try to do your best to contain him, but just me having that experience and a lot of guys having that experience playing against him, we kind of know what to expect and you know how they're going to attack us. Everybody knows what he does with his feet, but over these 7 games, man, he's been passing well. I know he's been, not for his passing, but he makes a lot of throws that a lot of quarterbacks really can't make, especially on the deep ball. He has a lot stronger arm than most people give him credit for. And like I said, when he takes the ball down and run, that's when he's at his best.
This Bengals defense has certainly exceeded my expectations, exceeded a lot of people's expectations coming into the season, but I'm not sure they've been tested like this. Lamar Jackson is an elite runner, obviously passing at a high level as well. Going into week 6, had more yards accounted for just by himself than 18 NFL teams, including the Bengals. So that puts it in perspective of where Lamar Jackson is. He might not be the front runner for MVP. I think that's Kyler Murray right now, but Jackson's certainly high on that list. And that's the other part of this. It's not just Jackson's legs or his athleticism. His arm is beating teams, and that's a theme the Bengals have noticed when they watch the film.
Well, number one, we got to make sure we plaster because he's actually this year he's doing a lot more scrambling to throw than scrambling to run. Like I said, everybody knows we can do when he takes the ball down, but he wants to keep defense off balance, so he'll scramble and take his shots deep to Hollywood and Mark Andrews and all those guys, and they made a lot of plays for him. So we just know that second half of the play, we got to make sure our eyes are right.
One way to stop and slow down Lamar Jackson is going to be getting pressure on him, and number one candidate for that is Trey Hendrickson. He enters Sunday's matchup with 5.5 sacks, 11 quarterback hits, and he's been the Bengals' only consistent edge presence as far as a pass rush goes. He's going to have to bring it. Zac Taylor offered up some praise to the 26-year-old on Wednesday following a stellar start to his Bengals tenure.
He's relentless, and that's what we want our defense to be about, guys who are relentless. And Trey just over the course of the snap wears guys down, and it might not be the first snap, it might not be the second, it might be the third, the fourth, and he draws a lot of holding calls, he draws a lot of false start calls, and he gets hits on the quarterback, and that's critical.
And if the Bengals are going to slow down Jackson, they're going to have to win in the trenches, of course, and it isn't just one guy, right? I mentioned Hendrickson, but DJ Reader, BJ Hill, they're all going to have to play one of their best games, if not their best game of the season. And that's something to pay attention to because this Bengals defense has held opponents' run games in check all year. But the passing game, it's interesting with Baltimore. They've passed more than they've ran it this year. Little different. They got some speed on the outside with Hollywood Brown. Their first-round pick, Rashad Bateman, back in the fold. So that's going to be a big challenge for this defense as well. But flip it. An offense led by Joe Burrow, and Joe Burrow did not speak on Wednesday. He's still on throat rest, which is probably something that, a lot of the media and a lot of people need during this stage of the year with all the talking we're doing, right? But Joe Burrow hasn't talked. The one thing he did struggle with last year was that the Ravens pressure packages. And, the Bengals went up to Baltimore, and Burrow got sacked 7 times. I believe he was hit 15 times, and he was confused by the different pressures that defensive coordinator Don Wink Martindale was throwing at him. And that's something that Zac Taylor knows and is aware of, and he thinks Burrow is ready for it.
I think Joe Burrow was really good against the blitz last year. I think he's always been good against the blitz. That's why we wanted to pick him number one, is because we've seen him take hits in college. We've seen him make throws against pressure. He sees it really well. It doesn't rattle him. I felt that way last year when he was playing. There's not to say that there weren't games that were difficult for us, Baltimore being one of them early on. And but I just think that he's just very consistent with his approach. He's ready He can get the ball up fast. He sees the full field really well. And those are things that are pretty good against the blitz. You get a chance to see their play speed up close and personal, and this division gets you ready for it. You know, oftentimes you see teams from outside the division come over and play the division, and the scores are 34-6. You know, and that's been consistent over the last 5 years, and so well, probably longer than that. And so that's the beauty of playing in this division. It gets you ready for all those great things that you want to achieve as a team, and you got to do it 6 times. I love it. I wouldn't want it any other way. You know, it's not going to come without its challenges, but it's what's going to ultimately help us build towards all those things that we want to be about.
And unfortunately, Burrow didn't speak on Wednesday, but CJ Uzomah did, and CJ always offers up some good nuggets. Here's one on Burrow's ability to recognize and diagnose things at the line of scrimmage, and he's certainly grown in that area since the Bengals lost to the Ravens last year, way back in Week 5. CJ Uzomah, full confidence that Burrow is going to be ready for the challenge.
How we attack them is huge because, like you said, how multiple they are. With Joe's ability to check certain plays, that you got certain plays that we have in the game where it's like he calls something and then at the line he just changes the play to something that he didn't say in the huddle. And we're like, oh wow, this is a great idea. It's a great idea. Again, it's like to me, I'm like, oh, I didn't think that we could really do that, but that makes sense. And then he gets us into a good play and we get 10 yards, we get a first down. So I think his ability to do that outweighs, certain things that certain individual matchups or certain schemes that they have and that they can present.
How much does he do this?
How much of what?
How much does he do that?
He does it a few times. He does it a few times where you're just like, oh man, wow, yeah, dope, cool, got it. Like we're gonna do this right now. It's not like an alarming amount where he's like contradicting the coordinators or anything, but it's like hey, I see this. I'm in the game right now. I know the pace. I know we've run this play before. Like we've run the play during the game. We got a good they're lined up the exact same way. Let's just check this and do it again. Maybe it's a different formation. Maybe it's different people in the game. Doesn't matter. He sees it and he checks it, and I get hyped when he does it. I'm like, all right, I see you. Like back there just commanding us and just finding ways to get the playmaker the ball for this. So it's impressive to me. I hear something like that. I see him doing things like that. And I'm like, this is super impressive.
A couple quick injury notes. Akeem Adeniji was activated and cleared for practice, so he's not going to count against the 53-man roster, but the offensive tackle going to practice for the first time this season on Wednesday. He suffered a torn pectoral muscle this offseason, but it's good news, and it means that the Bengals open a 21-day window for him. Don't expect him to be active on Sunday against the Ravens, but certainly a step in the right direction. Same thing goes for Khalid Kareem. He was brought back and cleared for practice last week, so he practiced 3 times last week. Not expected to be active on Sunday against the Ravens, but he's getting closer to returning after suffering an injury in the preseason. For more on the Bengals, including what Mike Hilton said about Jesse Bates' future, make sure you hit that subscribe button and check out the rest of our videos right here on Cincinnati Bengals Talk. That's it for now. I'm James Rapien reporting from Paul Brown Stadium.